Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for the Photography Masterclass. My name is Terry White, Worldwide Photography Evangelist here at Adobe, and it's my pleasure to be back. That's right, I'm back from sabbatical. I was gone since the end of May. I hope you noticed. I hope you missed me. But more importantly, I'm back at least sporadically for the first couple weeks, and then, we'll smooth it out and be back every Friday. But I'm back this Friday. Next Friday will be a replay. I'm back the Friday after that. The Friday after that will be a replay. Then I'm back for good. So, but I'm back to work. That's the main thing. So, hey, Paul, hope you had a great stream. I was busy setting up for mine. I never get a chance to watch yours, but I'll try and catch a replay. And I see Sam Peterson's in the house doing our moderation, and a bunch of people coming in from all over. I see Sky over on Facebook. I see Jan and Sam Peterson and Zach and Ozzy and Z by HP Tech and Larry and so forth and so on. I can't name every name. But if you're watching this on your favorite platform, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, not Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching this, that's great. But if you want to participate in the main chat, head over to b.net/Adobe Live. That'll be the main chat that I pay attention to. If I catch you on the other chat, great. But if I don't notice your comment or question on the other chat, it's because I have to focus on one, and I can't always look at all the chats plus demo. So with that said, today we're going to take a look at something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I decided to make it my stream for when I returned. I decided to make it the stream that I would kick things off with because it would force me to get back to work. So the main thing that we're going to be doing today is working with video for photographers. And it's a weird thing because the minute you mention video or 3D, and a couple other things, people run like they're, oh my God, that's not for me. I'm out of here. And I can understand that fear of learning something that takes you out of your comfort zone. But as we know, the best things happen out of your comfort zone. So if you are a photographer and you focused your entire career, hobby, whatever it is, on still photography, that means you usually get pretty good at it. You practice it. You know the ins and outs, you've learned from your mistakes, and you get better and better over time. All you have to think about when it comes to video is that you're going to use those same rules that you've learned about composition, what makes a good image, storytelling, so forth and so on. And you're just going to apply it to 24 or 30 frames per second. So you're already shooting multiple frames per shoot. Now you're going to let the camera shoot multiple frames for you and turn it into a video. And I also remember when video used to be hard. Like it used to have to know a ton about the hardware and the mechanics behind the scenes and all the stuff that you needed to know to even produce a video, all the hardware you had to have to make a video that looked good. Well, that is pretty much all gone now. The technology has gotten so much better that you can edit, mere mortals can edit video on your regular computer. You don't need a RAID and all these super fast hard drives and all the stuff and massive, massive amounts of storage that you used to do. But now, and of course you can still have all that, but you don't need all of that to produce the kinds of videos that photographers want to produce. And I'm going to focus my attention on two types of videos today. We're going to focus on, and this is again, because we're targeting this towards photographers, the two types of videos I would probably guess that photographers want to produce: behind the scenes videos for social media, storytelling, part of the story that they're trying to tell, the behind the scenes, getting ready, the prepping the stage, prepping the set, prepping the subject, whatever it is. And then the other type of video that you probably want to produce is one that complements the story, complements your photos. So it could be a video of the subject that you went to go photograph, whether it's a landscape, a person, architecture, whatever, just to add that dynamic feel to it. Because looking at stills is great, we'll always do that, but looking at video is so much more engaging. And that's what we're going to focus our attention on today, those two types of videos. Now, of course, you can extrapolate from the things you learned today and create other kinds of videos, how-to videos and tech videos or whatever it is you want to do after that, but the concepts will be the same. So I'm going to take you through a few slides, just a few, to kind of get your feet wet for those of you who are brand new, some of the terminology that you will hear. And then we'll get into, show you an example of a story video that I shot. And then we'll actually put some videos together. So we got like an action-packed 49 minutes left. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to my desktop, and from there, I'm going to go ahead and play this slideshow. And I'm gonna be on screen for this, but I will be off screen at parts of this. So for the slides here. So let's talk about it. How to work with video for photographers, the Photography Masterclass on July 15th by yours truly. Let's start with a few basics. So when videographers talk video, they're talking all this terminology that photographers aren't used to. A lot of it we're used to, but a lot of it we're not. So let's get to the basics of what we want to do. Let's start with, why did DSLR video, now mirrorless, but DSLR video change the world? The reason that DSLR video became such a hot trend and it took over, basically, people were shooting full-length films with DSLRs, is because prior to DSLRs, making actual movies was closed and only available to professionals with big budgets. In other words, if you wanted to make a movie, you had to have a movie camera. You had to have, because when you look at cinematic movies and films, there's a constant theme going throughout the editing and throughout the movie: shallow depth of field. In other words, where part of the subject's in focus, the subject is talking, and the subject that's not talking, or the people behind them that are not talking, are out of focus, just like we do with stills today. Well, in order to shoot that with video prior to DSLR video, you had to spend $50,000, $200,000, $100,000 for a camera and lens that would give you that shallow depth of field for video. And so that was just, you know, the hobbyist is not going to spend $50K on a lens to shoot a video of a behind the scenes. That was for motion pictures, for movie making, so forth and so on. Why DSLR changed the world is because we already had, for decades, SLRs and DSLRs that could shoot shallow depth of field with the right lens for a couple thousand, $3,000, $4,000. So the barrier of entry came way down once those same cameras we were used to shooting stills with got the ability to shoot video. You're going to be shocked when I tell you this, but one of the first DSLR, I actually think it was the first DSLR if I'm not mistaken, but if not the first, definitely one of the first, to shoot video, and it was a fluke. It wasn't what we think of video as today, was the Nikon D90. That was that way back when crop sensor, that way old camera that we don't even think about anymore, unless you're still shooting with one. The D90 was the first video DSLR, and Nikon never intended for you to shoot movies with it. They intended the video feature for the photographer to take notes about the stills they were shooting. So in other words, you could flip it to video, record a quick note, and then, you know, continue shooting stills. It was never intended for movie making. And Canon said, wait a minute, they just basically made a camera that shoots video. Why don't we make a camera that really shoots movies and video? And so Canon took Nikon's thing and made it popular. And that's why Canon cameras got the jump start on shooting video. And then of course Sony, like, hey, we're already making video cameras. Why don't we make mirrorless cameras that shoot video? And as we say, the rest is history. And of course Nikon, you know, oh my God, we already had this. And they, you know, jumped on board as well. So basically there's no camera you'd buy today, DSLR or mirrorless, that doesn't shoot video and doesn't do it well. And so that's really not, the kind and brand is no longer an issue. It used to be, but it's not anymore. Any good mirrorless DSLR camera is going to shoot 4K video on down. So, and some will even shoot now 8K video. So it's just phenomenal what these cameras can do for the price. All right. This is an example. I'm going to play this little clip. An example of why the world changed. So what do you see focused on right now? You see it focused on the strobe, and the subject, the mannequin, I have to give her a name, but the mannequin in the background is out of focus. And now I'm just going to play the video. This is me focusing with the focus ring manually. So this is giving me creative control to decide slowly what I want in focus and what I don't want in focus. Now I'm hand holding it, so it's a little shaky, but if you put this on a tripod, it would be phenomenal that we're able to just simply dial in what's important and what's not, just by using that focus ring on the camera itself. So that ring right there is controlling that focus. All right. Now, because the technology has gotten so much better, like that was where it started. Like you had to, get good at what we call rack focusing to shoot DSLR video. And there were all kinds of rigs and tools and extra accessories and grips that let you do it easier. But that was where it started. But now that's a mirrorless camera with a touchscreen. So here's an example, same thing, but I'm literally just tapping on the back of the screen what I want to be in focus and what I don't. Like, I don't even have to dial the ring anymore. Now, dialing the ring is going to make it more like engaging, more cinematic because you're doing it slowly versus a quick tap. But always know that you can just literally tap to put something in focus, and whatever's in focus is in focus, whatever's out of focus is out of focus. So that is why the world changed when this capability came out for DSLR and now mirrorless. All right. Every camera you've purchased, I'm guessing in the last 20 years, I don't know what the time frame is, but I'm going to pretty much say every camera you've purchased in the last 20 years has some video capability. It may not be 4K, but it has the ability to shoot video. Working with video is no longer hard, so you don't have to run. Anyone can do it. If you've mastered using Lightroom and Photoshop, you can absolutely master doing video now. And even if you're not mastering them, if you're using them, like you got a good understanding of how Lightroom and Photoshop works, video is no harder. Like it's, in some cases, even easier because you're going to use the same concepts you've already learned in Lightroom and Photoshop. Okay, so understanding video resolutions. I've thrown out a couple terms already, or at least one, 4K video, and threw out 8K video, but we're not going to see an example of that because most people won't be doing that for a while. But 4K is where any new camera you'd buy today is going to have it. It's like I said, some of the higher end is going to do 8K, but everything else on down, including your smartphone, is going to shoot 4K video. And since you already are a photographer, you already understand what resolution is. It's the width in pixels and the height in pixels. So 4K video is 3840 pixels wide by 2160 high. That's really not a lot for a still image, but that's a ton for video. As a matter of fact, the stream you're looking at right now, I'm broadcasting this in 1080p, the next one down. And look at how much smaller that 1080p frame is. Because you think it's half the size, where it's really 4K is 4 times bigger because it's 2 times the width and 2 times the height. So it ends up being a frame that's, if I said that right, 4 times and not twice as big, even though the numbers are double, but the actual size. In other words, you could fit 4 1080p frames in a 4K frame. So if I took that rectangle, put it in the upper left corner, copied it to the right corner, copied it left and right bottom, you'd have 4 of those to fit. Same thing with 720p, which is where HD started. So HD was 720p. That's when we first started using the term high definition. And then we started using the term full HD around 1080p. And now we use the ultra HD or UHD, which is 4K. So that's the terminology for the video resolutions. So just like anything else, which one do you want to shoot in? It depends on what you're going to do with it. I usually like to shoot in 4K because then I have the option. I can always go down. I can always make a smaller video. Just like when you shoot in a 48 megapixel still camera, you can always make a smaller JPEG. But if you shoot small, then like 720p, and you say, oh, one day I need 4K, then you're up-resing the video and it won't look as sharp and as crisp as had it been shot in 4K. Same thing with stills. So unless you say, and this, I'm going to give you a rule. I'm going to say always shoot in the highest resolution unless you're saying the video I'm shooting is for social media, for something small. I will never need it bigger. Then it's okay to shoot smaller. So a lot of things I shoot are specifically for Instagram or for social media. They're never going to go anywhere else, like never. Then I'm okay shooting smaller. But if I'm shooting like storytelling or behind the scenes, I'm going to shoot it in 4K because then I always have the option to publish it on YouTube in 4K and anything else down if I make a smaller video. Okay, frames per second, FPS. This is another part of it. So we have the resolution. And think of frames per second like you do shutter speed, like you do on stills today. So your camera, even your phone, usually will let you choose between 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, slow motion, 120 frames per second, whatever it lets you choose. That's the quality of how smooth the video will be. The quality of how it looks is the frame size, the resolution, 4K, 1080p, whatever. But how smooth those frames are is how many frames you have. So we're used to seeing on the big screen things at 24 frames per second. That's what we've used for years to have, because it just looks cinematic for whatever reason, 24 frames per second. But now the video you see mostly on your computer is actually 30 frames per second. The video you're watching right now is 30 frames per second because that just became the standard for social media. YouTube, computer video is usually typically, and again, all of this can be different depending on the circumstances, but typically 30 frames per second. When you want to have even higher quality or be able to slow it down and make it still look smooth, then you want to shoot 60 frame or higher because you got to think about it. When you're playing it slower, and you don't have as many frames, you're seeing basically the gaps, so to speak. You're not visually seeing gaps, but like it wouldn't be as many frames, so the video won't look as smooth when it's slowed down. So for example, here's a slow motion stock clip. I grabbed this from Adobe Stock. So typically for something like this, you'd want to shoot, and most cameras even like just let you choose, like on your phone, it just says slow-mo. Because it's automatically going to do all of this for you. It's going to choose the higher frame rate and slow it down for you. But if you're shooting on your regular camera, you can choose the higher frame rate knowing you want to slow it down later. All right. This is more of a kind of behind the scenes storytelling video. I was as close to the edge of that cliff as I was going to get. and this is my drone. That was my Mavic Pro back then. And I just basically set up the Mavic Pro to circle me, and then I put the controller down and start concentrating on the stills. So this is just an example of storytelling. So I showed you a little bit of behind the scenes, and now this is not a video. Well, you're watching a video, but I'm showing you the actual stills from that shoot. And then of course putting in titles or text and so forth and so on. All right, that's it for the slides for now. Let's actually, I think we can quit out of Keynote. Let's go in and let's pop over to the browser and let's pop over to Adobe Express. All right, that might be closer than you would have gotten, Ryan. Well, the other cliff that I've ever been on that I got close to was Horseshoe Bend in Page, Arizona. And I literally crawled, like I laid down and like shimmy to the edge, and I just still didn't want to get close enough to where I put my head over. So I got as close to the edge as I could, and as long as my arms would extend out to put my camera over the edge, because again, we've seen what happens, you know, when stuff happens. So I didn't want to be a statistic of someone playing near the edge of a cliff and being a memory at this point. All right, so let's start with free or close to free. Adobe Express. So Adobe Express, express.adobe.com is a website you can go to. There's also iOS apps and Android apps you can download. But express.adobe.com is our answer to letting people, and this is what Spark used to be, letting people create social content that looks beautiful, that's template driven. Now, of course, a lot of social content, like I can go in and create a nice Instagram post and story that looks beautiful, nice colors, images, so forth and so on here. But a lot of social posts, again, to be more engaging, is using video. So understanding that the typical Express user is even, like if we were judging levels of competency, an Express users, they're not even photographers. They're not like, they're doing other jobs. They're doing other things. And so like video is definitely not their forte. Graphic design's not their forte. Photography's not their forte. So that's why this is all template driven. But we understand you might have shot a video with your phone. You might have shot a video with your regular camera. And you need to do some things with it to put it in that social post. So you'll notice that there are some quick actions right here in the middle of the screen. And if I click on video, one of the quick actions, well, is trim video, which means cut the sides off. Like it started too soon. I had to get out of the way of the camera. Okay, I don't need to see me walking away from the camera. I want to start it in more. So that's trimming. Oh, I let the camera run too long at the end. We don't need that last 5 seconds. I want to trim off that last 5 seconds. So trimming happens at the beginning and or the end of a clip. You could do either one or both. Resizing is what I mentioned earlier. 4K video, I don't need it. I shot it in 4K, but I only need a small one for social media or emailing or whatever. So resizing makes it smaller. Merging videos is typically editing, taking clips that you shot at different times or different cameras or different angles and putting together a movie, putting together a video. And convert to GIF. This is one of the most popular ones because a lot of time you shot something quick, something a few seconds, and instead of sharing a video, it's easier to put an animated GIF on your website or on your, and there's Einar over on Facebook clapping for, because he was there with the drone footage in Iceland, Einar. Anyway, it's easier to put a GIF or share a GIF than it is on, the video. So cropping the video, actually literally cropping, maybe the video's showing part of the sky that you don't want, and you want to crop it down. Changing the speed, like slowing a video down. Or more importantly, you'd probably use this to speed a video up. Because when we're going to talk about editing, one of the tricks I've learned over the years is less is more. Like if a video is 3 minutes, ask yourself, does it need to be 3 minutes? Can I get it down to 2? Can I get it down to 1? Can I get it down to 30 seconds? So speeding up parts of the video that we don't need to see you do it in regular speed. Like one of the videos I'm going to put together is like, you've seen open box videos where they open up something and then, put it together. Well, the putting it together part, usually you don't need to see every little step of somebody assembling, let's say, a softbox. Once you see them put the first rod in, you kind of know the other 30 rods go in the same way. So you might show putting the first 2 rods in regular speed and then speed up the other 28 rods because we get it. We don't need to see it all take the same amount of time for the whole thing. Okay, so that's why you'd speed up a video. Converting a video to MP4 because MP4 is the most common format for sharing, and reversing the video. So a video where someone's walking towards the camera, maybe you want to show them walking back away from the camera. So you just literally flip the video and reverse it, have it play backwards or forward. Well, depending on your concept. All right, so I'm going to show you the convert to GIF. Just click on it. You can drag and drop your video right in. I'm going to go browse for one. There's one. This is a screen recording video from my phone, and it's just showing the way a solar panel powers the house and charges the battery. So if I were to play this, it's just literally these little beams going down to the battery and over to the house. Now, once you see it once or twice, do you need to see it 6 more times showing the exact same thing? Like the numbers don't change, nothing else changes. It's just literally the beams going down. So first of all, it doesn't need to be 13 seconds. Maybe we drop it down to, I don't know, I can't see it till I play it, but maybe 4 seconds. So let's play that. Beams go down once, and then that's it. They start to go down again. But a GIF is going to continue to repeat. So I only need it to go down once. It's just going to keep replaying over and over again. So that's it. I got it. I got them going from the top all the way down to their destination. I can even make it a little shorter because it started to play over again. But let's say we leave it there. Now you choose what size you want it. Large is going to be a pretty big file. Medium is where it defaults, which is good for social media. Small is going to be low quality and the smallest file size. So maybe good for email or just a quick example. But I'm going to do the original size. I would normally just go ahead and click download and it would start processing. But for the sake of time, I've already done it. There it is. This is not the video. This is the GIF playing. So depending on where I cut it off, that would like that see how it starts at the top again? That's not smooth. So I would just literally need to cut it off to where it gets down to the bottom so it starts over again at the top. So that's just a user error. Just make sure you trim it to where it completes one cycle and doesn't start the second cycle because it's going to cut off and start over again at that second cycle. So that's it. But that's the animated GIF. And by the way, trimming it is going to make a smaller GIF. So it's going to be a smaller file size for sharing. All right. And thank you, Enlightened Swami. I appreciate the compliment. Okay. So that's an example of how you would use video, how you would process video in Express. And then once you've got that video process, you've made it smaller, you've trimmed it, you can then add that video to your social media post. So if you did an Instagram story, you can actually add the video to it and then make a video with text and colors and everything you want it for your Instagram story right in Express. No other video editing knowledge needed. You do it all here on the website. You didn't need big drives. You didn't need fancy cameras. You didn't need anything else. It was just that easy to do it from the website. So don't forget, this is a good starting place for most people that say, I have no knowledge of any of this, use Adobe Express. All right, next set of people that are photographers that are already using Lightroom. So Lightroom Classic, which is what I normally show and use, has had video. I use the quotes when I say editing because I don't really consider it editing, but let's call it editing for the sake of argument. Classic has had editing for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years. Like it's had a video support for a long, long time. And that video support was basically trimming and making some quick edits, like in the library view. So you remember, you know how you got that quick edit panel where you can make something a little brighter, you can make it darker, you can change the contrast, so forth and so on. That's pretty much the extent of Lightroom Classic. Now, Lightroom, up until last month, Lightroom Cloud, did not have any video support at all. You could bring your videos in and play them, but that's it. You couldn't do anything with them other than just manage them with the photos. But you couldn't do any work with the videos at all. Now, in the June releases of Lightroom, both on desktop and mobile, you have some video capabilities. So, for example, Einar's going to like this one too. Here's a shot from when he and I were there in Iceland. Oh, it's downloading this one. I'm sorry, I forgot I didn't have this one cached. But anyway, it downloaded from the cloud, and here it is. And this is a drone flyover of an Iceland lighthouse. That's how lighthouses look in Iceland. And I just kind of circled it, and I thought it was really cool because I'm into sustainable energy. I kind of like that it's powered by a solar panel, so that made my day. I didn't know that till I got all the way around it. And cool, I'm flying around a lighthouse. Now, what could I do with this in Lightroom? I can do a couple things. Number one, I can go into the, first of all, I'm going to the crop panel. If I go into the crop panel, now there's trim and rotate. And you're already on trim. So trim, this is what I mean. If we go back to the beginning of that video and we say, you know what? These first few seconds where the drone just kind of starts like passing by it, I don't need those seconds because again, shorter is better. Let's start with when it actually starts turning. So I can actually pull the trim over to where the drone starts turning around, because I don't need those first 3 seconds. It's a waste of time. And then at the end, I can say, okay, we've gone around it once. Do you need to go around it again? It's going to be the same lighthouse. I just circled it a couple times for safety, but I don't need to see it twice. Trimming it once, you get the idea of what it is. And I could go out to where we started, but once we go to where we started, like, hang on, let's go. So around one time, that's it. You kind of know what it is now that you've seen all of it. So again, making the video shorter by cutting off the ends that we don't want. All right, so that's one. And of course, we talked about flipping. So if I wanted to flip the video so where it's playing the other way, so now it looks like I'm going backwards around the drone, or around the lighthouse. So I'm flying clockwise now instead of counterclockwise. That's just a click of a button to flip it, or flip it upside down for whatever reason. And maybe you're doing something cinematic where you want the lighthouse to come from the sky down, and you want to create that cool effect. You could do that. All right. I always use that voice when we're doing cool effects. Rotating the video. So if you shot wide by mistake and you needed it tall, or your camera shot wide by mistake and you needed it tall, you can flip it around. All right. And so that kind of stuff is under crop. But what's more interesting, and what Lightroom Cloud does that Lightroom Classic doesn't, is it lets you have a lot of your develop module or editing stuff that you don't have in Lightroom Classic for video. So for example, I can literally change the exposure of the video. But if the video was shot too dark, too light, just like with a still, I can adjust it. I can increase the contrast of it, or lower the contrast. I can play with the shadows and the highlights. So same things I would do to a still. I can adjust, this is a big one for me, I can adjust the white balance. So if the white balance was off on my video camera, I now have a quick, easy way to adjust the white balance in a video right here in Lightroom, like I would with my stills. I can do color grading so it matches my stills, because a lot of times the video, depending on what camera you shot, won't necessarily look the same as your stills. Now, you don't have access to everything, because one of the things I was like, oh my God, I can finally, oh, I can't dehaze the video. So, so the ones that are grayed out, you don't have access to yet. And again, I'm not promising that they will ever come, but they're there. The sliders are still there. So hopefully they start turning on some of this other stuff. The one I would vote for to be next would be dehaze, because if you're shooting outside on a sunny cloud or day, whatever, you could go in and dehaze the video just like you would the stills. But anyway, once you're done with this, one more thing, you have presets. And what's cool about this is you have like the style cinematic preset. So if you just want to create a particular look for a video, you could, as well as landscape, and as well as there are some video ones. So there are some video creative presets. Oh, that's kind of cool for Iceland. Gives that icy look. Anyway, there's some cool creative presets that you could do for your videos. So I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't that thrilled about this feature coming to Lightroom, only because I already have video editing software from the same company, from Adobe. And I could do a lot of this in there, but it makes sense for photographers that are out shooting stills, flip the camera over, or flip the switch on the camera, shooting video now, bringing both those stills and videos into Lightroom and adjusting them at the same time. Kind of makes sense. All right, so with that said, let's say that I did want to create this, where was that look I saw I was stopped on? Not that one, that one. Let's say I want to create this old-timey look for the video. I click on that preset. I would then just click the share button and export out an MP4. So unfortunately, you don't get to change the size. So you can't say, well, this was shot in 1080p, I only need 720p, or shot in 4K, I only need 720 or 1080. It's going to export it the same size that it was shot at. So if you shot 4K, you're going to get a 4K. If you shot 720, you're going to get 720. You're going to get whatever you shot it at when you export it out. I hope that they add some more options for sizing, but that also means they would have to render. So maybe they just balanced. You know, most people don't need to, if you're going to do all that, go into a video editing app. For this is for quick, making the video look like you wanted it to look. And then you would export it out. Okay. And then of course, this is all non-destructive, just like it is on still. So I can always go in and say reset edits and put it right back to the way it was. Because none of this that happens in Lightroom is destructive. So you're not hurting your video by playing. And again, this is why I said it's easy now. You don't have anything to worry about. You're not going to hurt yourself basically by messing with video. You're going to get more creative. You're going to learn more. You're going to do more things. Okay, so Lightroom, we saw for video editing, for what it does, trimming and looks. So the way the video starts and ends and the way the video looks. That's what you're going to do in Lightroom. All right, that brings us to our finale, which is Adobe Premiere, not Pro, Rush. So for those of you who are new to the Adobe apps, the long time standard and the one that I use and have used for decades is Premiere Pro. However, for you guys, for people that are new to video, that want to do a lot of things, but you don't want to learn, you don't want to spend as much time as you spent learning Photoshop, learning video, I recommend Premiere Rush because it's a happy balance between where this leaves off, a couple things, couple minor things, where the website left off, couple minor things, to actually editing video, to doing edits, but easier than Premiere Pro. A lot of the same features, a lot of the same things we'd want to do can be done in Premiere Rush much easier. And here's the other thing. I know Premiere Pro pretty well. I'm not a Jason Levine, but I know it pretty well. But I use Premiere Rush all the time because Premiere Rush is also on mobile. I use it on my iPad. I use it on my iPhone. So when I'm shooting a video that's going to go straight to social, why would I bring it into the desktop? I already shot it on my phone. Might as well bring up Premiere Rush on my phone, edit it, get it ready to go, including adding titles, everything else, and export it out back to my camera roll and share it. It never goes to the desktop. I never need to because Premiere Rush does everything I needed to do. All right, so let's switch over to Premiere Rush. So Premiere Rush is showing me all the projects I've done so far. And I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you one that I did recently when I got a new drone. I got a new drone while I was out on sabbatical. And I wanted to make a 1-minute social media clip for my my Instagram Reels and TikTok. I didn't post on TikTok, but that kind of video where it's vertical, it's 1 minute or less, and it's perfect for sharing on social. So let's click on that clip, or that project, I should say. This is all of what went into it. So I had a couple stills first. So that's one still. That's another still. I added a title. So that DJI Mini 3 Pro above my head is the title. Then I actually had a couple of videos I shot with my phone. So I'm holding my phone in my right hand. I'm holding the controller in my left hand. I'm shooting the drone as it's taking off. And then this is actually footage from the drone. The drone actually has a flip to shoot landscape or portrait. So I shot vertical video knowing that this was going to go onto social. So that's the phone again. I'm showing the controller and I'm flying 22 miles an hour. And the rest of it's all drone. So let's play it back. It's 1 minute. Let's play it. The new DJI Mini 3 Pro is here. I'm super impressed with the lightweight, small size, and the fact that the controller now has a built-in display touchscreen. I no longer have to use my phone. I'm going to go ahead and take it on its maiden voyage to the lake. As you can see, I'm flying about 22 miles an hour in normal mode. In sport mode, it does a phenomenal 35.8 miles per hour. This thing's got like almost 7 miles of range, and it's just incredible that you have a 4K 48 megapixel camera that flies for about $1,000 bucks. This is phenomenal, the best drone I've ever flown to date, and it just blows away my previous Mavics and all the drones I've used thus far. It's incredible what you get in this package. I highly recommend, if you're new to drones, if you want to check out drones, this would be a good starting place. Cheers, everybody. Have a great one. All right, I don't know if you heard the audio, but you notice here, behind my head there, Here, let me flip over to the other side. It says voiceover 6, meaning it took me 6 takes to get it right. But anyway, voiceover number 6, because you can also record a voiceover after you've assembled the video. You can just literally click voiceover and just start talking. It'll give you a 3-second countdown. You just start talking your way through the video. You're watching it play, you're talking your way through it, and then that's it. All right, so that's all in Premiere Rush. So now let's do a project, and or actually, I'm going to show you one more video, and this one you definitely should be able to hear because I'm going to play it back in the streaming system. I'm going to play one more video, and then we're going to do all our editing for the last, how many ever minutes we have. Let's play one more. This is going to be a clip for, so this was behind the scenes, and now I'm going to do storytelling. All right, so what do you think? One of the things you probably picked up from that video was that what really sets it off is the music too. So I saw someone in the chat ask, hey, does Rush have music included? It absolutely does. But because before I forget, we only got like 9 minutes left. I'm going to do a quick rush demo. But before I forget, I'll show you where the music is. But I also want to introduce you to a library of music you already have. So we go over to my browser, and I go over to my YouTube studio. This is where, you know, everyone has a YouTube account, has a YouTube studio. You launch YouTube Studio, and there's an audio library over here on the left-hand side. So this audio library is royalty-free music that YouTube won't complain about, or any, you know, most sites won't complain about it, because this music has been given to you for the rights to put in your video content. So if there was one you liked, you would literally just download it and add it into your video in the editing app. So that's where that music from that clip came from. It came from this library. Okay, let's get back to the actual Rush project. Okay, so let's go back home. And this is how we start Rush. We create a new project, and when we create a new project, it's going to ask me, like, where do you want to get this footage from? So I am going to navigate. It's in my Dropbox. It's in my demo files. It's in my CC demos. And there should be a Premiere Rush. There it is, Premiere Rush folder. And in my Rush folder, I have Iceland video. Oh, you know what? Let me go back one. We already saw the Iceland videos. Let's do a different one. So I'm going to go into my Premiere Pro folder. Even though I'm not using Premiere Pro, I have some footage there that I want to use. So I have music, I have the old, I have stills, I have the videos. So this is like kind of a behind the scenes video. So I have the makeup artist doing makeup, I have whatever going on here, and you can scrub through them to see them. People walking, more makeup and hair. And then I'm actually shooting in studio, so I'm just kind of scrubbing through these. So you're basically, in Rush, you're picking them in the order you want. First, give it a title before you forget. Let's call this Bridezilla Masterclass. And so I want that one, I want this one, I want this one and this one. You don't have to use all of it. You're just telling it, I want these videos in my project. I want this one, I want this one, and I want, no, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. Okay, so those are the ones I want. So I can go ahead and click create, and it will add those videos to my project in order. It'll actually even put them on the timeline. So they're in the timeline, on order, ready to go. If I want to now say, hey, you know what, it'd be nice to have some of those stills from the video at the end, so I can go ahead and click add more. And I can add your media, which is what I want. And I can go back out from videos to the Bridezilla folder, and let's go and get the stills. So I want that one, and I want that one. So those are two stills I want to put in at the end. All right, so let's go ahead and grab those. And put them at the beginning probably, because I don't see them. There they are. Oh, no, hang on. No, that's video. Where did it put them? Maybe it did put them at the end. I didn't see. Did I add them to the project? Hang on. I think that's... Why am I not seeing them? Hold on. They're here. Yeah, they're there. There they are. Okay, yeah, added them at the end where I told it to. Okay, they're just so small you can't see them because they're only a few seconds. So the video is so big, that's why I couldn't see it at the end there. But it's there. All right, so now let's go back to the beginning here, and let's say that this one clip is playing, or the whole thing's playing, and let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Here. Let's make this smaller. There we go. I want to zoom in on this clip because I don't want all of it. So I'm just dragging this little handle at the bottom of the application. So I can say, okay, she starts doing the makeup. Great. You know what? How much of that do we need to see? We understand that that's a makeup artist doing makeup. So do I need the rest of that? No. So I can literally just trim the end of that clip, and notice how the rest of the timeline follows me. So I can just say, nope, I'm good to right there. That's good. Then it'll just go to the next clip. And so they're kind of gathering around somebody or something. I don't even know what that is. And I can say, okay, where she walks into the camera, that's what I want right there. So I don't need the beginning of this. So just trim the beginning. So I'm just dragging the beginning of the clip over to that spot where she walks in. All right, so now she's walking in. She says whatever. And that's right there where she makes eye contact. Don't need the rest. Trim the rest down. So that's editing. That's literally what you're doing. You're trimming and you're rearranging clips in the order you want. So if I wanted that to be first, here, let me get out of the way. If I wanted that clip to be first, pick it up, move it first. That's it. Now that clip's the beginning of the video. I changed my mind. I want this to be the beginning, makeup artist to be second. All right, so now let's say I want to cut out a part of the middle. I don't, but let's say I did. Let's say I don't want, I like where she does that, but I don't want this part where she's looking for something else. So I can do the scissors over here on the left-hand side, click the scissors, it will cut that clip right there. And then I can keep playing and say, okay, now when she comes back, that's where I want the rest. Make another cut. So now this piece in the middle is what I don't want, delete. It puts the two together. That's it. Our transitions available, of course they are. All right, so now, so these are just cuts between, and again, do I need all of that? Probably not. So let's continue again, dropping this down. All right, don't need all of that. And so let's say for the sake of someone asking about transitions, if I wanted to put a transition in the middle between those clips, here are my transitions. And if I wanted to put a dissolve between them, I would just literally drag a dissolve between them, and now they will dissolve into each other instead of just cutting. So there's my dissolve. If I want my dissolve to be bigger, drag the dissolve to be bigger. Just like that. Oh, undo. Unlimited undos, by the way, so you can't mess up enough. All right, so now it's a nice long dissolve between them. All right, so yes, transitions. All right, now let's say that there's audio. These guys are talking the entire time. Let's say I don't want the audio. Well, I go to the audio button and I can mute the clip. Oh, wait, the speed. I want to go to audio. Mute the clip. Now there's no audio under that clip. Someone asked about music earlier. I click the plus sign to add. I can either do a voiceover and talk over this whole thing, or I can do the audio, and these are all royalty-free clips that are built in to Premiere Rush that you can use. And again, if you didn't want to use these and you wanted to go get something from the audio library in YouTube, then you would just add that as a media file. So you would just say your media and go find that audio that you downloaded from YouTube. Okay, or anywhere else for that matter, if maybe you're a musician. All right, so let's say I want to add a title because that's big with video editing, something you can't usually do on your phone or with the standard apps that are built in. So if I go to graphics, add a graphic, it will give me all of these templates. I can choose titles, I can search for what I'm looking for. There's breaking news. All right, let's drag that down. Let's use that one just because. All right, let's add breaking news because everything's breaking news in the news. All right, so now it will actually play that animated title. I can make it shorter. I can make it longer. Right now it's playing over the clip. Let's hide this for a second. It's playing over the clip. Well, I can say, no, make it at the beginning. So don't play over something else. Just make it the beginning of the video. And let's play it back. And now there's breaking news. All right, so if I don't like the breaking news, I can just delete it. I can go back to add graphics. Oh, back to add graphics, add a graphic, and let's just do a standard title over the top of things. I'll use the same one I used for the slideshow. Let's add that. So that puts it over the video. You can then move it wherever you want. So if you want it to be over the video here instead, then you go to that title and just double click on the text. Double click on the text. Double click on the text. I don't know why it's not, there we go. Double click on the text and change it to whatever you want. How to work with video. All right, so now that will be, and by the way, let's say I don't like where it's positioned. Click off of it, click back on it, and then you can pick it up and move it around like anything else. So even though it looks like the handles are sticking outside the video, that's okay. Now I put that there, I'll hit play, And there's my animated title. Oh, it extends off the canvas. I don't want that, so let me move it over. Oh, hold on. Pick it up. Oh, there we go. Pick it up, move it over so it doesn't extend off the canvas. There we go. Play. And there it is. Last but not least, because I'm out of time, the last thing you would do when you're finished with your edit is hit share and then export it out. Give it a name. Export out whatever size you want, full HD, 1080p, 720p, whatever you need it, and away you would go. So that is working with video for photographers. It's that simple. It's literally drag and drop, arrange things, trim things, cut things, add transitions, add audio. You can speed it up, slow it down. All these controls are here. Add text, add graphics, add stills. I didn't even get a chance to talk about the stills, but yes, you can add stills as well. Just go add your media, choose your stills. Well, we did add them. They're at the end. I forgot. We added the stills, and you can go, oh, hang on, I got out of the project. You can go to your stills. There we go. Stills are there. And you can even animate those stills with a click of a button. So we could go to speed. I'm going to get cut off here, but we can go to speed and, or actually not speed, effects. And we can go to pan and zoom and turn on pan and zoom for that, so that's still, and it will pan and zoom it automatically. All right, that's it. Oh, and I didn't have that on screen when I was doing it, but there's pan and zoom. There it is. Nope, there we go. Come on. There we go, pan and zoom. All right, I'm out of time, folks. Cheers. Thanks for watching. And if you got questions, just let me know. Bye, everybody. Have a great one.